Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening, depending on your time zone and depending on when you are watching this. I'm James Innes, and this is my YouTube show, The Jobs Guru. It is Thursday, the 16th of July, 2020. Somewhat of a different look today, but for once I'm not at home. We're with my in-laws, or as I prefer to call them, the outlaws. Anyway, I'm delighted to see you all here for today's episode. I extend a very warm welcome to all those who have subscribed since the last episode. And if you haven't yet subscribed, then please do think about subscribing so that you don't miss out on the next episode. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the latest jobs, careers, employment, and workplace news. If you have any questions or comments as you watch, then do please type them into that comments section below. And if you like what you see, then do please hit that YouTube thumbs up. In last Thursday's show, I covered Chancellor Rishi Sunak's summer economic statements, and I asked the question, is it enough? Well, there was news the very next day that Burger King may permanently shut up to 10% of its restaurants with 1,600 jobs at risk. And there's been more bad news since then too, of course. For example, John Lewis is to permanently close 8 UK stores, putting 1,300 jobs at risk as the company's sales fail to rebound after the coronavirus lockdown. Bad news in the media world too. There was already the news that Mirror and Express publisher Reach is to cut 550 jobs. And now, just yesterday, The Guardian has announced plans to make job cuts in both its editorial and commercial departments as the economic shock caused by the coronavirus pandemic continues to impact the media industry. The proposals could affect up to 180 jobs, with 70 coming from editorial. Editor-in-Chief Catherine Viner and the Guardian Media Group Chief Executive Annette Thomas, they said in a joint statement to staff that the pandemic had created an unsustainable financial outlook for the Guardian, with revenues expected to be down by more than 25 million on the year's budget. Employment really is taking a massive hit from the pandemic. The number of UK workers on payroll fell by 649,000 between March and June, according to the Office for National Statistics, the ONS. It puts the number of people claiming work-related benefits, including the unemployed, at 2.6 million. But there are warnings. Official figures do not paint the full picture. The Resolution Foundation think tank, they argue that the reduction in average hours worked is a better indicator, actually, of unemployment. Meanwhile, almost 30% of companies expect to cut jobs in the next 3 months, according to a British Chamber of Commerce survey of 7,500 firms, extensive survey. I'd say this definitely doesn't paint the full picture, no, because the figures don't include the self-employed, who have also been severely affected by the pandemic, with data showing a record quarter decrease. Shocking. There are fears too for employers. Banks say up to 800,000 businesses, not far shy of 1 million, could go bust in the next year if they are unable to defer repayments on government-backed loans. Industry lobby group The City UK is proposing a student loans type scheme administered by HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, where coronavirus loans can be converted into a tax debt repayable over a decade, and only when and if the business could afford it. That's from my friends and colleagues at BBC News. The Telegraph reports that businesses have borrowed billions to survive COVID and might be crushed by that debt in a second collapse, putting millions of jobs at risk. 250,000 firms have taken on so much debt to survive the coronavirus crisis that they could be crushed by the weight of loans in the coming months, putting up to 3 million jobs at risk unless radical action is taken. Trust me, if I had some good news to report on the jobs and employment front, then I would. Alas, the picture remains really very bleak. In a desperate bid to end on something of a positive note, I do want to flag up this article from the BBC, the remote work experiment that upped productivity by 13%. Ooh, I hear gasps of surprise and excitement. No, perhaps I don't. Indeed, no, this isn't exactly the best or the most exciting news that any of us have heard, but there was one paragraph in this which made me smile, and I'm hoping it might make you smile too. It's a quote from Nicholas Bloom, a professor at Stanford University in California. He said, "Have you punched into Google image search working from home and looked at the top 20 images? They're basically naked people. A guy drinking champagne in what looks like a jacuzzi. I mean, almost none of them are positive images." But what really made me smile, though, wasn't the quote. It was when I actually did this on Google Images. I suggest you have a go yourself. So now, we're not far from the end of today's show. I'll be back next week, Tuesday. Remember, this show is Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, each and pretty much every week. Yes, even when I'm staying with my in-laws. Just two more things. First, I must squeeze in some routine but important requests. Do please check me out on social media and connect, follow, or otherwise stalk me, but please don't troll me. Who wants to be labelled a troll? If you have any questions or comments about this episode, about the show in general, or indeed about life, the universe, mothers-in-law, whatever, do please let me have them below in the comments section. If you like this episode, YouTube thumbs up maybe. Do think about subscribing and ringing that bell. I haven't got my bell with me today, so I'm ringing my virtual bell. Is this the virtual bell or is it the smallest violin? It's hard to tell. So you don't miss out on the next episode. If you've already done all that, well, thank you. Now finally, what is happening in the next episode? Well, next Tuesday, I'm going to be continuing with my regular Tuesday series of valuable interview advice, and I'll be talking about mental preparation for the interview. I do hope you'll tune in. Thank you for watching today. Keep safe and be well, my friends. See you next Tuesday. Goodbye.